Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hi.
Good morning. And
Morning.
Spence is here.
Are you sure, Nick?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hey. Good morning.
And Katie's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it's not switching. And I think
Mm.
let's
It'll
keep going.
switch. It'll switch. You just need to be low. If you start high, then it tries to filter out the audio.
Oh, okay, I'll use my manly voice.
I'm always high, so.
And
that's
Gal
probably
is
why I was
here.
up front of this.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
I got a bone to pick with
Yeah.
Katie. Katie, what the hell? Where you been?
Oh, see, now the camera's not. Where is it switching? Oh, I'm dumb. It's because I wasn't focused on Nissan. I don't work on holidays, y'all. Listen, the show was on a Sunday, which was a Christmas, and then it was New Year's. I'm sorry, y'all, but I've got things to do, such as like sleeping,
Excuses.
visiting family, and all kinds of stuff.
Amnon, I think you should doctor pay.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
This is why there hasn't been a female on the show for so long. This is the kind of approach that you get from them.
Y'all are crazy. I enjoy spending time with other people besides you guys. I know that's crazy.
Oh, really?
Wow. What a wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll remember that next time you're.
And they only, but they
how
only
do I
come
create
around.
a clicker to cheat in a video game?
They
Oh,
only
how
come
do I do
around
this?
around the holidays. It's the only time I can see these people. So
You just crushed my fragile image of myself.
it's okay. We'll go to a group therapy session later. We could talk about it in our diary journals.
Oh, I like that. It's a good idea.
The therapy session has to involve alcohol.
I'm there for it.
The best kind of therapy.
That's
so.
the best. I mean, there's always a good outcome.
As long as
you have it
Amnon's
out, yeah.
paying, I mean, it's a business expense.
right.
Yeah, maybe I'm not gonna bring us hot tub.
Anyhow, no, the reason I was saying that it didn't switch, and I think I know why, is because yesterday I had to generate the invitations for the 2 other shows for this week. And and I don't normally start Zoom on my machine in the office. And when I started it, it did an extensive update. And I said, "Oh shoot. I'm wondering if it's also going to update, if it's updating that on their server." So, but I think I'm still using the old software, which is fine. Because we had a problem with the switching in one of the versions. I guess I need to try and see if it's still broken. But they changed the way where you, the page where you schedule. It looks different. What? What's this? Yep.
Explain to folks what you're saying. Scheduling what?
Explain what?
Explain to folks what you're saying. You're saying the page
Yeah,
that they're scheduling.
There's a
for what?
when you
For-
are
For what program?
for Zoom. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
Zoom. Yeah. We're using Zoom. What you're seeing here, all the guys except me who's in studio are in via Zoom. And when I do the other shows, you have to do a new one every week. And you go to Zoom and you say schedule, and it tells when and for how long, and it generates a code and all that. So yeah, that was kind of different. And that not it wasn't scary different, but it was kind of like what's this? But yeah, when I saw that it didn't switch in the beginning, so Gal, were you joking when you were talking about if you start high or low,
No,
or
no, no. It's all about the volume level that you talk about. Nick, shout into the microphone.
Oh,
okay,
Okay, it didn't work now. But when what happens is when you start really really high, um, and it happens not just Zoom. It's Teams, Google Meet. They're all the same. The whole idea is that there needs to be some sort of level,
normalize it.
and if there's some background noise, you don't want it to switch, right? And so the program does as much as it can to identify whether it's speech or background noise.
Hmm.
If you talk, if you talk in a normal level, if you do not start with a hi, something like that, then um,
Hmm.
it'll switch because it detects that somebody's speaking, right? But if there's a loud noise or something, it'll try not to switch until it's sure it's a human being on the other side. And when we're introducing ourselves, we talk for a very, very short period of time. So it doesn't necessarily want to switch yet.
Okay,
Maybe
so
we should have a script that we're supposed to say at least 20 words each when we first start talking.
No, I mean, even a single word, but you see, I spoke a long time, then you spoke for a bit. And then when I started speaking, it took a bit because it didn't want, like, because there's overlap, didn't want to switch immediately if it doesn't need to, if it's going to be a back and forth, because otherwise it's nauseating, right? So,
yeah,
We do a monthly call with Pam's family, and her brother, when he talks, comes through great. His wife, sitting right next to him, it's all garbled and broken up. It's the weirdest thing. It doesn't matter what microphone she uses. If she gets really close to the microphone, she's clear. But if she's sitting back
so
3 or 4 feet from the mic, it's
hmm.
all garbled. It's her. It's
what
her. It's the pitch of her voice. So
what are they using, a laptop or are they using a cell phone?
laptop.
If they switch to the cell phone, I'm guessing it won't happen. Uh,
And that's
the,
I've had that discussion with him about getting a external camera with a better microphone in it, but that's not going to
yeah.
happen. So,
Well, I mean, all they need is a better microphone. It doesn't need to
yeah,
be.
but I mean,
Yeah,
it would be easier just to buy another the camera that they use inside the laptop isn't great either. But we're not.
yeah.
They're not into what it looks like. They just want to talk. So,
And that's and
There is another alternative, and it is from our friends that we like to hate, Meta. They're phasing it out, but it's still available, and that's the Portal TV. It
the
means you're going to use either WhatsApp or Messenger for the communication, right? But they can use the TV and they can sit far away from the TV. They can see everybody large. Uh,
and
Works
it's
better than a
still
laptop.
working.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're not selling. They're not creating it anymore. They're not stopping Messenger, and the software itself will continue to work. So I don't see a problem there. Um, they just they stopped creating the new hardware.
Hmm. Oh well, that's all right. We were talking a lot about ChatGPT in the last few weeks, and I mean, listen to this: artificial intelligence research company OpenAI is in discussions over potentially selling at least 300 million shares in a tender offer that would give it a roughly 29 billion valuation. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal. The offering of shares of OpenAI, known for AI programs like ChatGPT and the image generator Dall-E 2, would make it among the most highly valued startups in the US. The valuation would be more than twice its valuation of 14 billion in 2021, according to the journal. Thrive Capital and Founders Fund are in discussions to invest in the offering, under which existing shareholders would sell their shares to other investors, according to the journal, which cited people from it. The deal terms could change and have not yet been finalized. But I mean, you knew it was bound to happen that somebody is going to try and monetize here, and there's nothing wrong with that. They
No.
bring
I I use ChatGPT and I absolutely love it. And in fact, I said that I would gladly pay for this service. I already paid for Midjourney because I use it a lot. And uh what I would love to pay for ChatGPT is to get priority and to unlock some of the limitations that are set for the free version. Like right now, if it takes longer than like 30 or some seconds or whatever the number is for it to think about the question you gave it, then it will like cap out and it will just fail. At least that's what it was a couple weeks ago. I don't know. These AI stuff are updating constantly, so maybe that's changed. But I asked it a question and it had to do a bunch of research and it had to like think about it a lot. And then eventually it just timed out. And I was like, I would gladly pay for this service. And not only that, but a lot of people were using it. So it slowed down and sometimes it crashed. And I would gladly pay for the service to use it.
well. So what is that? Doll
Dall-E is
Dall-E.
Yeah.
their image one, their image
Did you use
making.
that?
I did.
Oh.
It's not as good as Midjourney. So
Okay.
I think Dall-E came out first, and
Okay.
then Midjourney came out. I started using it in August of last year, and it was absolutely amazing. And I keep using it. I would go to Dall-E every once in a while because they had specifically to use their expanding feature. So what I could do is I would give it an image and say the image is, I don't know, 500 pixels by 500 pixels and I wanted it to be 600 pixels by 500 pixels, then it would fill in that empty space and it would do a pretty decent job. So I used their expand feature uh from the AI. But as far as like creating an image exactly what I wanted, I had more success with Midjourney.
All right.
Amnon,
Yes.
Dall-E is all of these tools, right?
Mhm.
I can't draw like
Mhm.
but I can describe what I want to be drawn, and that is exactly what it does. You you tell it what you want, what the image should look like in words, in human
Mhm.
language, right, in English, and it produces an image that is it produces a set of images actually that match your description. So basically, right, it's replacing for hire artists. If
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about it
Yeah.
in a certain way. Okay, so um, for marketing, for the common graphic designs,
All right. Logos
where
and
for the manial work of that, right? It's going to replace a lot of the
Mhm.
people in the industry would do it today for a fee. So that is part of the business models that they are looking at, right?
Mhm.
Is and that is part of the discussion that is going on, is like, is something that has been created by an AI, right? How will it be copyrighted? And it is based on some source material that it consumed. But even even if I was an artist, if Katie, uh, a person who works in graphic design, right? Uh, she draws something, she creates something from her own intuition, from her own experience. she's seen a lot of artistic styles, and she knows how to incorporate it. She is not literally taking an image, copy pasting it, right?
Right.
And so, and that is the same notion of what Dall-E produces. That is the same notion of what ChatGPT produces. It does not spew out content of a website page. It reads the website page, analyzes, builds a model around it, and then produces information that is new, right? And so, how does copyright work, right? Suddenly, an AI generated it for you. So, does OpenAI own the copyright? It's like, if I'm using a pen that writes for me, right? Does the pen owns the rights for this, or is it me because I told the pen what to write?
Yeah.
That's
Right?
why
It's
that's why I feel like you really need to pay for AI, because it's the same thing as if you were an owner of a company and you hired somebody to do your graphics, right? Or
right,
whatever, to write social media content, whatever. They made the content, but you paid for the content. So as the business, you own the content, even though you're not the one that did it. See, I think
but
people
what happens to the source that came into the database that they collected? Who pays whoever created the original material?
see all of this though falls under the basic copyright stuff of like it, so if it looks like it's an official artwork for Disney, but Disney didn't make it, then Disney can sue you and say, no, you can't use that. I don't care if you painted it yourself or made it yourself. You're using our IP stuff. This all falls under the same regular copyright stuff. Like I think AI, a lot of my artist friends are really scared about AI, and they're like, oh no, this is gonna do this, that, another thing. And I'm like, guys, it's a tool. The faster you
Right.
can utilize this tool to work it into your workflow, the better you're going to be. That's what I've been doing. I've been using it to make really quick mock-ups and drafts, but it doesn't make exactly what you want, exactly what the client wants. Like if Disney or Meta or whoever came to me and they're like, hey, we need to use our logo, but we need an office space, like put it in an office space to for whatever. I could have Mid-Journey make an office space for me, but it's not going to be like exactly what Facebook's looking for, what Disney's looking for, so that I can use that to draw over or to edit it or whatever. It just takes the tedious task out of certain things, and it makes my process so much quicker and easier.
I
But
agree. I agree.
yeah,
I see that benefit specific exactly the same way. It's just a tool that does things 100 times faster than any other tool that came before. And so will it replace a lot? Yes. And the answer is yes, because there's a lot of things. I mean, we do not use accountants today because we have an online tool that we pay a few bucks to use, right? And we file our taxes. So does it mean we need less accountants? I assume we do, right? Here is a tool that is going to make redundant what? It's going to make redundant the the intern level work, right, of graphic design, the basics of the basics. Will there be artists? Yes, there are going to be artists that are going to use AI, and there's going to be artists that are not going to use AI. And the creation isn't going away, but the manual work, the automated work, the stuff that you do in the hundreds and the thousands, right? That is going to shift completely, and there's going to be a lot less people involved in the beginning of that.
I
Uh,
see
is it scary? Yes.
each industry throughout human history has gone through a period like this. The industrial revolution, whatever. It's like when they started mass producing and figuring out how to get machines to replace people, then people were all up in arms. But then now they have the machines that can make books or whatever, metal machinery, whatever, a lot faster. Now it's time for the tech industry and like the art industry, where these machines are making things more efficient and doing it quicker and faster. and it's not going to go away. So all these people that are all like, oh, we need to stop with this, we need to stop this. Every industry has said this for the past 100 years, that when it becomes easier, they're trying to stop it. And I'm like, you got to get ahead of the curve. You got to learn how to utilize it.
May I jump
Right.
in here, because I
Yes.
think there's something very interesting about this time, and it's the group of individuals that it is affecting. Katie, this is not meant towards you, but
Mhm.
this industry, the people that are bitching and complaining about this currently are individuals that are just so lost in terms of how they just no concept of how things work. It just in any way, shape, or form. And if these people, you can go back and look at Photoshop in the 80s and 90s and how that completely changed photography and photo editing. If those people were around then, they would have, you know, pitchforked and burned Adobe's headquarters to the ground so that Photoshop wouldn't have become popular. It's just a group of individuals that have this moral authority and moral high ground on stuff. And I think it's going to be a very interesting battle to watch, because they haven't cared when it's happened in any other industry, but now they're going to care when it happens to theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can look at it on Twitter. Look, Katie, I'm sure you're seeing it in some of your art
Oh.
dev groups. The
Yeah.
changing my profile picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
And
job,
they're like,
jackass.
no, they're like, no
having a huge
AI,
impact.
no AI. And
Oh,
here's
wow.
the thing. I get where people are coming from, because I make my own artwork, like I draw, and if the AI just used it and created something that looked like me, looked like what I did, then I'd be like, well, then why didn't you just hire me to do it? I see the argument in that, but at the same time, it's the same thing as if somebody else was copying an artist. Is it right? No, not necessarily, but like it's like, how do you block that? And well, I will say though, in the art community, the thing that was really underhanded is there's a website called DeviantArt, and so DeviantArt is an art website where people will post their personal drawings or
Creations.
whatever. Well, DeviantArt came out with their own AI software that generates images, but it uses the user base that they've been contributing to the past 20 years as their AI algorithm stuff. Now that is kind of twisted, because when the website first started and we were posting our artwork on there, nowhere did it say our artwork was going to be being used specifically for their AI stuff that they were going to sell later on, you know? So that was shady. And I don't know if it's still there, if they got rid of it or not.
Unfortunately, though, I would suspect that somewhere buried in the terms of service, they had the right to do that the entire time. As
Yeah.
crappy as it is, and I don't disagree with,
Yeah.
they own the right to that. Unfortunately, I just don't know where. I don't know why some of these individuals think that they're going to stop it. And like you mentioned, Katie, throughout the last hundreds of years, I assume these similar battles have taken place. I just don't know why they think they're going to stop.
I
It
know,
makes
There's
them
nothing to indicate.
it makes them feel good.
Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
Well,
then you can feel
it's
good. I mean, and you know what? There's still people that do. There's still people that take their X-Acto knife and cut out copy, and that's how they make newspapers, I guess. But most people just type it in Word or a word editor
Yeah.
and then do it that way. So
it's
I mean,
it's
I
the
guess
industrial revolution of the AI technical world, and if they don't figure out how to use it as a tool, they're going to get left behind like everybody else did, and they're going to be the new blockbusters to the Netflix.
I'll
No.
tell you when people are going to be really pissed, though, is when you start creating AI porn.
it's already
Oh,
been done.
I'm
you
sure it's
know,
already done.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Guaranteed.
funny
Oh,
because
boy.
they block words, so the Midjourney blocks words that it deems inappropriate, and it's so weird because like the obvious words, certain body parts, but one of them I was like, I typed in flesh for like to flesh out like a design or whatever, and it was like, you can't use that word. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry.
Oh.
Now, God makes a great point, because if you're not a technology noob, the adult video industry has led many technological revolutions, including VHS, DVD, and the internet. So there they're trendsetters, I guess, is one word that you could one way that you could put it. On all seriousness, I mean that industry has literally that's why VHS beat over Betamax and everything else, and it's the same reason that DVD beat um what was Sony's somebody
Oh
else's
yeah.
equivalent to
Yeah.
to DVD. Even though
Wow.
Betamax was a far superior format, VHS is where porn was available, so it's the industry that won. Pretty wild.
And Nick
Anybody's interested
and
to
Nick
watch.
and Nick talks from experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Yep. Hop back in my time machine. I was hanging out in some shady video stores back in the 1980s, mid 80s.
You know, people are going to use ChatGPT to write smut. I'm sure they already do.
Spence, you were going
Anybody
to say?
wants to watch a fun video, Jeff Dunham has a new routine that's on Comedy Central, where he talks about some of these subjects very interestingly, making fun of. It's kind of out there, make fun of no holds barred, but it touches on some of these things. I won't mention what. It's very funny. If you like Walter, the one character, Walter actually plays Biden, and it's hysterically funny.
I
But
wonder.
he will talk about generational change in things. That's kind of interesting.
I mean, in relation to AI and stuff like that, I mean, porn was a joke, right? But I'm thinking now, piracy today, right? The most raw form of piracy is the camera in the cinema. What would happen if AI generated complete films that just look
Yeah.
really similar but are not the original movie?
Well,
It's
one of the
like-
things that Brian and I talked about on a recent episode of Infection, it's you're talking about movies, but we were talking about video games, is this idea that there is a movie or video game that you really like, but you wish a couple of things were different. And now through AI generation, you now have a unique movie. Again, it's not the whole movie's not unique, but the unique parts of the movie or a video game,
AI
or unique
modding,
parts,
right?
AI modding
Yeah.
of a video
Yeah.
game, a movie, or a television show. There's you can go back to the early '80s, maybe even late '70s with the they had those books, the Control Your Own Destiny books, where you
Right.
flip to this page and so on and so forth, and you control your own journey. Not everybody's is necessarily the same with AI, and there is already AI in video games. You play a game like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, these huge, or Skyrim, these huge open world games where even if you and I are at the same point in the game, you and I walking down the street are going to see different NPCs, different characters, that non-playable characters that the game has generated, having different conversations. So it exists in some aspect, but it would be cool to say, oh, well, I wish there was this, that, I wish that there was a huge street brawl taking place over here that I could get engaged in. And then boom, it's
How long
pops
before
up.
Amazon offers to your subscribers where you're watching a show and you say, I want a different outcome. I don't like the end of that. Let's
They
change
already
it.
have that. Netflix has a choose your own adventure.
But I mean, for
but
any
it's-
show
yeah,
that you can watch on Amazon, they say, well, I don't really like the outcome of that. I'd like it to be this. And that generates that outcome for you.
We'll finally know if Tony Soprano got shot and killed or not at the end of the
That's right.
show.
No, I want him to live.
I've been waiting 20 years to figure out if
Yeah.
he got killed or not.
You mean we'll never know because there's those who will have the true version and those that will have their own version.
I
And
want
then
my own
you have
version of
wars about it.
I want my own version to the end of Game of Thrones.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Oh, what a disappointment. We could talk multiple hours about
Yeah.
how awful that ending
Okay,
was.
remember this conversation because about in 20 years when somebody creates the Dall-E version of video, right? This is what they're going to demo.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Next, 4 years after introducing its micro LED technology at CES 2018, Samsung claims the technology is ready for the masses and will set the standard for picture quality in 2023. This is coming from Engadget. At CES 2023, the company announced it would offer 50, 63, 76, 89, 101, 114, and 140-inch micro LED models, greatly expanding the amount of choice consumers have when it comes to new display technology. They didn't provide any pricing and availability information for the expanded line, but the company claims the new models are its most affordable micro LED TVs to date. The set sports a 240 hertz variable refresh rate and 2 nanosecond response time. It also offers 20-bit black detail for intense contrast. So this is just in the show. Whether when we're going to see it on the shelf or whether we'll see it, time will tell.
I'm holding out for the version of it where it comes in a roll, in a tube, and you pull the adhesive off the back of it and you stick it on your wall and you're done.
Yeah.
So what's the
They have a
difference
form of it
between
now.
what's the difference between micro LED and OLED?
I had no idea.
Maybe the size of the LED,
I
more pixels, or more individual LEDs instead of taking up less space. I don't know. Let's see what I can find.
But it's interesting. And talking about TV on the wall and this, I had a call from Marshall this week, and he was trying to plug. No, the TV that he just got. He got an LG TV, the greatest, and all that. Had it mounted on the wall. He needed to do something. Oh, the sound didn't sound right, and he called LG, and they told him to plug it into another HDMI. The HDMI, there's no access to. Why? Because the TV is mounted right on the wall like a picture. It's not offset from the wall a couple of inches or maybe 2 inches or whatever. And I'm saying, so what do you do if you? He said, yeah, I can take it off, but I can't do it by myself. And I'm saying, what in the hell is what is that type of a uh, amount? First of all, you put it on the wall higher and you sit down. Now you're looking at it at an angle. The reason why those mounts have different angle that you can adjust it from the wall, not sideways, but up and down, is so you can see a better picture when you look at it directly. Maybe the difference is not that much, but to make it so you can't even get, and he said the sockets are on the side, but inside, like about maybe 6 inches into the set, and you can't even stick a finger there.
Plus, you
Which,
can't overcome glare if you can't change the
Yeah.
angle.
well, I mean, it's just amazing that you get into this type of situation when you pay for a good. Now it may
Yeah.
be that the mount was different because he had somebody local come to install it for him. So it may be that they were just using the wrong mount or a cheaper mount or whatever. But I've never seen a mount that will actually just put it right on the wall, all four corners, and you cannot get anything in there. You should be able to get at least a long screwdriver to tighten it, because
That would be a problem if you need to connect the cables and before you actually hang the television.
there's all kind of problems. And I'm saying, what in the world?
Oh, so the micro LED is actually more than one LED making up a pixel. So one pixel could be created by 16 micro LEDs. So
So does that mean that if you lose an LED, you don't really tick and you can
you might
really.
not, yeah, you might not
It'll
see the
be
missing
less, yeah.
pixel. Yeah.
But so yeah, so I was trying to read on the difference to OLED. So OLED um, are organic material that luminescence that create luminescence when they get power through them, and the micro LED are synthetic, and that means that production is supposedly going to be easier. um, Size wise, it seems that they're talking about the same range of size when they're talking about a micro LED and an OLED, but because of the production process, they can be brighter uh, and more stable than OLEDs across time and across usage. So yeah, look like it's a notch up in the evolution of these displays. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Micro LED claims to be a lower energy consumption too.
Oh,
Yeah, for the equivalent brightness.
Yeah, but does it matter? We're gonna have fusion energy soon.
That's true. I have a fusion generator in my garage already. Experimental.
oh, so that's why we get all these flashes all over the. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I bought my Anchor solar generator.
You did.
It's on its way. Yeah. I bought the bundle with the 2,400 watt capability uh, with two 200-watt solar panels, foldable solar panels. And the intention for this is to use with the RV so that I don't have to run the generator. If I just want to run a few things, 120 volts, I don't have to run the generator.
How much was it?
Let's not talk about that.
How much? How much? How much?
No, it was the bundle with the discount was $2,900.
How much gas can you buy for that?
How much gas? Well,
Yeah.
it's not so much the purchasing the gas. It's if you're out somewhere and you want to stay
Yeah.
there for several days,
Yeah.
you're running a generator. The generator runs off the main fuel tank,
Yeah. Oh,
and if you get down to a certain level, this is a very good feature. If you get down to a certain level in the main gas tank, it stops the generator from running, so you don't suddenly
yeah.
go in. Oh, it's time to leave, and you have no gas.
No, renew. I mean,
So-
to use like newer technology. It's
Yeah, it
no.
uses the same technology as electric car batteries, which is pretty cool. So the battery life of this thing is supposed to be 10 years. And they talk about how many cycles and usage and all that. It's actually pretty good, and it's a 5-year warranty on the unit, which is why I got that. That was the best warranty I could find. So
Very, very nice.
So how much energy does it produce?
it's
Yeah.
it's 2,400 watts continuous. What the let's see what the actual battery pack that's built into it. There you can get auxiliary batteries to make it cover more time.
How long can you draw 1,000 watts?
Maybe a couple hours. But so it's 2,400 watts, and it's 2,048 watt hours, the batteries.
That's not bad.
But it uses the new Life PO4 batteries, which are the lithium batteries that the technology used for recharge. You can actually, I watched videos on this, and a guy actually recharged his Tesla with it and carried in the trunk and did another 200 miles by using this device to charge the Tesla, which I thought was pretty cool. It has a
So
compatible plug on it.
so for the RV, what you're talking about, right? You're talking about like a day's drive in sunny conditions, and you get an evening worth of power, basically.
Well, it depends on what you're using it for. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
has, what's nice, it's got a 30 amp connector that works, the same connector that you use to plug into shore power. You just plug it into this box. So if you're not using the microwave a lot, or coffee makers, I mean, I have gas. I can heat up on the stove or whatever. But for if you want to extend some of the use of your 120 volt uh, requirements, you can use this device, and it will charge. It's 200 watts so 400 watts continuous charging. You can do up to 5 of those 200-watt panels for 1,000 watts of charging.
So you can add more and more panels.
You can add more panels, and you can add more batteries. There is no unit that goes over 2,400 watts. The generator I have is a 4,000 watt generator.
But you
That
can
lets me run the air conditioning and the microwave.
But you can always pull a trailer with more panels.
I suppose. But this is just to extend your off the grid.
Yeah.
The
And
RV I have does have a battery. It has a connector on the outside for solar panels to charge the onboard house batteries. Which is nice too.
How many volts is the battery? You know?
No, but I looked at the add-on battery pack.
Yeah.
It's made up of hundreds of small batteries. It's not like it's one big.
Yeah.
I guess the life, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's LIFEPO4. Is it Life PO4? I don't know how it rolls.
What
the name?
How ready is it to be plugged into the house or into?
You can, like the 30 amp plug is what I can plug into my cutover for my generator.
Okay.
So I just use the same extension cord.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's different. It's I'd have to convert the twist lock to the straight plugs. Yeah, to get it to feed into my house. Like if I wanted to use this to run one of my furnaces during the wintertime, if we had a power outage, I could.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting.
It's an experiment.
Yeah. No,
and I thought it, something that would be usable at home, usable traveling with the camper.
All right. Hey, Nick.
Yes, sir.
You're ready for special, I'm sure.
I am.
But let me ask you this too. You flipped your picture?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Is that?
Yeah. So I was looking towards you instead of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I looked at it. I said, "What's going on here?" Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we're ready for the special.
We are.
Ta-da!
Kind of a different mix this week. We've got like half a page of a couple of items on sale, and then a look at a couple of interesting products from CES 2023, which is ongoing right now. The first that you can see if you keep scrolling down is BMW's color-changing car. The entire car is literally addressable via color. So that's something that BMW is rolling out. We'll talk about that coming up.
Huh.
Is that like a mood ring?
I mean, it essentially looks like one. You can make it look like whatever you want. So yes, very much so.
I'm predicting a lot of accidents if it starts strobing on the highway.
Well, I'm predicting a lot of high-speed chases. Like, oh, we're looking for a red, whatever. Exactly. It's like, oh, well, it's green now. So, all right, let's take a look at some specials. First off this is a very high-end laptop, and it demands a high-end price. This is the Gigabyte G5KE. This is a full 15.6-inch laptop with a 144 hertz FHD display, so a high refresh rate screen for mobile gaming. It comes with an NVIDIA RTX 3060M mobile GPU built into it. That's a 6 gig card just for video RAM, video memory for the laptop itself. It's got a Core i5 12500H, which is a very, very good 12th generation Core i5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, And again, I don't know why they keep putting 512 gigabyte SSDs or NVMe drives in these laptops, but it's got a 512 gigabytes worth of storage. Plus, it's running Windows 11 on it. It's got a full RGB backlit keyboard. In terms of ports and connectivity, it's got a couple of USB Type A's, a headphone, and a microphone jack, plus a Thunderbolt port and a couple of display ports and things of that nature. This is not a portable device in your traditional sense. It's bulky. It does not have the best battery life, but if you're looking for gaming on the go or high performance video editing on the go, um, then this is a pretty good price. Dirtbag says 512 should be enough for anyone. Not in the realm of gaming, it's not. You've got games like Call of Duty that are 90 plus gigabytes fully installed. So you have, Windows OS, which is what, 50 or 50 gigs, 30 or 50 gigs, something like that, plus a couple of games at 60, 70, 80 gigabytes. AAA titles are Cyberpunk's over 100 gigabytes, and that 512 is very quickly diminished.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this is a great price on a device. It's normally $19.99, and you can get it on sale for just $8.99, 25% off, and you can check that out over
So is
at
this an
Amazon.
Alienware competitor?
Um,
Would you say?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I mean,
All
you
right.
won't find an Alienware for $899, and if you do, it's their lowest of low end. Gigabyte is a very reputable brand. I mean, they've been motherboards and
Yeah.
GPUs for years.
Right.
So I wouldn't have any problems with the brand on this at all.
I
And that's
do
over.
love one aspect of this. This is a gaming computer, and it's an i5.
Yep.
Right. Before, what 2 years ago, gaming computer wouldn't be below i7, right? So uh, it just shows that the CPU requirements are going lower and lower, and I love that. The CPUs are
Well,
getting stronger and stronger.
it
So
goes to show you that first, specifically the 12500 series
yeah,
of Intel processors are phenomenal, even for gaming desktops. Many
agree.
folks are building 12 or are building computers with 12500K or KF CPUs because it's just such a good bang for the buck
Hmm.
performance. So if you're in the market for that, check it out over at Amazon. Pretty good, pretty hard price to beat over there. Speaking of hard prices to beat, I don't know that I've ever seen a TV of this caliber spec for this price. This is a $390 QLED 4K TV, which is not typical for this price. This thing is normally $650, and it's a 65-inch Insignia. That's the Best Buy brand, their in-house brand. I'm not sure who makes them, Samsung or somebody like that. But for a 65-inch QLED 4K TV, I do not believe you will find a better price than this at $389. Golly, I know you're not constantly in the TV market, but um, I don't believe I've seen anything as good of a deal as this.
No, I mean, even for a 65, it's a great price. You
Yeah,
get
for it.
QLED, but it's not Samsung, right?
No,
Insignia. Yeah,
Insignia.
so
Yeah.
interesting. So Samsung is starting to license out because QLED is Samsung. So it looks
And
like they're starting to license out their displays.
it might be that the Samsung make Insignia. That's what it might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're in the market for a new TV and you're looking for something that's a little bit above the traditional 4K smart TV, this is a pretty good price and a pretty good way to do it. All right, next up, buyer beware on this one. I did look at some reviews. I've never heard of this brand, I will admit. This is the iFrogz, IFROGZ, Voice Boost 2.0 soundbar. And its MSRP is $150. It's on Woot right now for $32.99. And looking at a couple of the comments on Slick Deals, people were discussing, managing your expectations with it. They did know, everybody that had one of these noted it was far better than their built-in TV speakers, which are typically these tiny little speakers that are down firing and they just sound like garbage. So what seems to me for this is I don't know if you'd put it in your living room if you're if you've got a Vizio or a Bose or a Sony, but this might be good for a spare bedroom or an office where you're kind of done with the tinniness of a built-in TV speakers, maybe a basement or game room. This is a very cheap way to get far superior sound. It's not only supports plugging into your television via optical toss link or coaxial connection, but it'll also support a 3.5 millimeter aux, Bluetooth, or USB input as well. So you can plug a USB thumbstick into it. It's got a remote. It is fully controllable, and it's 78% off. Pretty hard price to beat for this. It's the iFrog's Voice Boost 2.0 soundbar. Check it out over at Woot. Next up in the realm of speakers, this is a completely different device. This is a portable, a monster portable speaker system. It's got a couple of cool features with it. Because it is such a large unit, you can actually use it as a battery power bank, which is cool. So you can plug in your phone and give it some juice. This device has got an FM tuner built into it. It's got Bluetooth built into it, or a microphone connection into it as well. So you could even use it for small level PA. It's not incredibly loud, so don't expect to address a crowd of 1,000 with it. But karaoke at your house or something like that, a small party in your backyard. This is a great device to do it. You'll find this normally for $110. It's on sale for just $79, and that's available over at Walmart. Our next deal takes us over to Newegg and the Asus VivoBook 16X laptop. This is Asus's kind of mid-tier line of computers. It's not their cheapest and it's not their highest end, but their VivoBook is their mid-tier of devices. These are really sleek devices. The screen is on a 180-degree hinge, so you can lay it flat and roll it back completely. It's not a yoga, so it doesn't completely go like a triangle, but you can lay the display back flat for things of, if you needed to share something. It's got a 1920 by 1200 screen. It's got a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is great for a laptop. That's what you want. You prefer 16 by 10 is way better than 16 by 9 for a laptop when screen real estate is so much more important. An AMD Ryzen 5 5600H is the CPU. It's got AMD Radeon Vega 7 graphics, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 512 gigabytes worth of internal storage. It's got a fingerprint reader right on the trackpad, so you can use Windows Hello. You also can use Windows Hello via the webcam. It does come with Windows 11, and it's on sale for $449, so $450. Save $100 on that, and it's available over at Newegg. It's I'm noting here that is the lowest price in 90 days, according to this tracker app that I have on my browser. So check that out over at Newegg. Next up, did you know that Roku makes indoor cameras? Did anybody know this?
I
It
didn't know.
looks remarkably like the Wise camera.
It does.
It's maybe the same source.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking as well. I had no idea that Roku was in this market, but in fact they are. It's called Roku Smart Home. And that's the name of the app and the interface for all of this. This is a 2-pack of these Roku cameras. They are wired, so you do have to plug them into power to keep them on. They are wireless though, so they'll connect to the internet wirelessly and do that. But you do need a power source to get them on. These are meant for indoor use, so for some indoor part of your house. 2 completely independent cameras with motion and sound detection. $38 for this combo kit. This is a better price than you'll find on even a Wise 2-pack. So if you're already in the Roku ecosystem and you're happy with how these things work, or happy with the Roku ecosystem, maybe this is something you look at. They do note that there is seamless integration with Roku. You can use your Roku smart TV or device as a dashboard for this, so you can view those cameras on your TV. So it does built right in. It's a pretty
It's got
pretty
some
interesting device. I didn't even know was available.
It's got some interesting features. It's got sound detection, so it can hear a smoke alarm or a
Yeah.
CO2 alarm.
It is cool, and I did again, I had no idea that they were making anything like this. So if you're, interested in a couple of, indoor cameras, pretty low barrier to entry, 40 bucks will get these for you over at Walmart. Next up, it's always good to have one of these, and I know they're expensive, and it's not always the top of the list, but it's great to have a UPS, especially if you and for something like this that we're looking at. This is going to be if you've got more than one computer in an area. This is a pretty powerful device. This is 1,000 VA. It'll produce 600 watts under full load. And this is the APC 8 outlet in uninterruptible power supply. So normally $140, you can get it on sale for 120 bucks. So you could power, a desktop or two with this, couple of screens, and it'll give you enough time to get into those and power them down or save any work so that when the power does eventually go out, you don't lose connectivity. And then finally, the Logitech G203. This is Logitech's one of their baseline gaming mice. Katie, I thought you'd find the price on this pretty compelling. It's normally
Yeah.
$40. It's on sale for $19.88. It's pretty hard to find a Logitech peripheral. Now, you don't get me wrong. You can go on Amazon and buy some RGB 1,200 button gaming mouse for $19, but it's going to be some cheap Chinese brand. There's not going to be any warranty, any QC with it. This is a Logitech device for 19 bucks. It's got two buttons addressable on the side. It's of course got your left and right click, scroll bar, and then a DPI selector on it as well. So 6 buttons. It's got a couple of them are controllable, and it'll go up to 8,000 DPI. So a pretty wide range for that. Check that out over at Walmart for just $19.88. All right, now take us to Las Vegas. Unfortunately, Amnon wouldn't fly me out there, so I had to do my best with what we've got here. Have you ever thought, maybe for you, Spence, have you ever thought, man, I wish I could become a better cook? Well, if you have, this device is for you. This is the Block, the BLOK. This is a smart cutting board with a screen on it and a subscription service to help you cook better. They call themselves the Peloton of the kitchen.
Mm.
So for just $700,
Oh
you
my
can get this
gosh.
smart cutting board. And then for $40 a month, you can subscribe to their cooking service. And as you can see in this this demo here, you've got an individual showing you how to actually cook this thing or cook whatever you're making. It's got a camera built into it. It's got the ingredients in the middle. Talk about niche products. The Block, the BLOK, that was showed off at CES 2023.
This has got to be a money laundering scheme. Like,
Well, they've got a legitimate website and it looks pretty nice. Their website is joinblock.com. I just threw a link to it in
Now,
chat.
if you're using this and you spill something and it rolls over onto the screen, do the people on the other end get wet?
They might. That's a very real point.
Yeah.
It's a cool. I'll tell you this. It's a cool looking device. If you've got $700 to blow, I'm sure for some people this is great. Check that out on their website. Next up, yes, that is a toilet you are looking. And yes, this is the With Things U Scan, and the U is for urine. This is
Oh my
another
gosh.
device at CES. This is meant to be a health and fitness device that is used to take a sample of your urine inside of the receptacle and report back on various things that it can read from your urine. How exactly this thing is going to work? I know I saw a screenshot of an app associated with it. Looks like you put it in your toilet bowl like a cleaner.
what
And
is it?
if
At
you're a
home?
man, you've ever used a urinal, typically you got the little aim area. Well, in this case, you'll be aiming at this thing that looks like a Google Home inside of your toilet, and it will report
Does
back
it
useful things.
measure your output?
It does
Yeah.
actually. It does measure stream speed. I'm not joking. That is one of the measurements that it takes.
It's an at-home drug test.
Yeah. I don't. CES always has got some weird stuff. So that's the U scan. You can search that up on Google and check it out. Next up, here is the Now Watch. You might be looking at this and saying, well, these things look pretty odd. They don't have a screen. So this is a screenless smartwatch that doesn't show you anything. It just has these various designs on them, but it does connect to your phone. So for the low price of $500, you can get an activity monitor plus a monthly subscription, but it doesn't even tell you the time.
What?
Why this is being made, couldn't tell you. Their whole thing is time is now. Don't miss a moment. You don't have to worry about beeps or buzzes or dings from your smartwatch interrupting things in your life. But you can have a stylish watch apparently and still get some of those readings for the low cost of just $500.
This has a trust fund baby written all over it. It's some
Oh, this
kid
is a yeah.
that's
This
got
is
like a few $1,000,000 from mommy and daddy and decided to make something that
this is
they
a
think's cool.
boutique product
Yeah.
that people who go to the right cocktail parties. Oh, I have a gem watch. Look at this. It doesn't actually tell me anything. But
Yeah. I was pretty surprised that I'm surprised that it doesn't even show you the time. That to me was kind of a slap in
Yeah.
the face for
It's
$500.
another money laundering scheme.
Well, unfortunately, everything at CES seemingly is a money laundering scheme. Here's one, Katie. Here's money laundering for you. Katie, you ever burn your eyebrows off and have wondered, how do I get them back?
Oh gosh, I'm scared. What are you gonna say?
Here is the L'Oreal, which is a reputable name in makeup, I'm told from my
Yes,
girlfriend.
I recognize
The
it.
Brow Magic. This is an eyebrow printer. This device this device has 2,400 small heads on it, as you can see in the picture, the second picture,
Uh-huh.
and it is essentially it is a makeup printer for eyebrows.
Interesting.
Very interesting. L'Oreal brought this out at CES. Presumably, you load it up with eyebrows. I don't know what you load it up with, but you put whatever material inside of it, like you would a printer, and then you draw it. You set the design that you want on an app. So the style of eyebrows that you want, and then you put it up to your eyebrow, and you move it across, and this little printer head goes
Huh.
across your forehead and will create the eyebrows that you've selected. Now, this thing is relatively affordable in the grand scheme of things. It's $200, which isn't outrageous for a beauty product. I mean, I'm sure you can go to the store and spend $200 on a makeup palette.
Yeah, Dyson makes a hair curler and it's like $800.
So this is not like I was expecting this to be like $600 or $700. I don't know that it's supposed to be out later this year. And I don't know. L'Oreal's a very, very reputable brand. They've been around forever. It's a decent price and it's kind of cool product. First time I've ever watched a makeup YouTube channel was for the show, and the lady was talking about it. It seemed kind of cool.
Yeah, this is
and-
interesting.
you
I
wake up
don't-
in the morning and you want to have dragons for eyebrows, you're good. And the next day, lightning bolts, and the one after that, a
The
rope.
key about this
I mean,
is,
whatever
and
you
what you're
want.
saying, Spence, is this isn't just like a straight line across your
No, you
forehead.
can make
You
whatever you want.
select the design, and
Yeah.
it literally prints it.
Yep.
So kind of cool. There's a link in the specials to an article on pocketlint.com of a lady reviewing this and she shows it being drawn on her forearm. I'll show it after specials is over. And it looks like the taper of an eyebrow. It's
I
pretty
want
interesting.
one for temporary tattoos. That'd be cool.
I mean, essentially, I guess with long enough, you could potentially do that. And then finally, and we'll talk about this probably a little bit later on in the show, this is an actual Roku TV. Roku announced at CES 2023 this past week that they are building their own first-party televisions. Now, obviously, they're working with somebody. They're not building. They're not
Right.
building panels themselves. But this is not a TLC with Roku TV Smart built in or a Hisense with Roku built in. This is a Roku TV. They've got various sizes and pricing. We'll talk about that here in a little bit towards the end of the show. But That was another interesting product out of CES 2023. I'll have a couple of other products next week as well as we round out CES, but those were a couple of the interesting products and a couple of specials for this January 8th, 2020.
And what about this? You said
Oh,
we talk
the
about
Yes, the BMW color changing car. I saw this on I have Fox News on in the studio in the morning, and they went to this live shot of this car. I was talking on the air and I was like stumbling over my words because I was mesmerized by what I was seeing. This is a BMW, and the outside of the car is actually equivalent technology to e-ink, which, if you're familiar with the early Kindles, that's how they that's how the early Kindles work. They weren't an LCD screen per se. They used e-ink, and that is essentially what this film is that goes on side of this BMW. It contains millions of tiny micro capsules with different color pigments that change when electricity, various levels of electricity are applied to them. So it's going to be called the BMW Ds. Um, so I don't know why that name is. I don't know why they've chosen that name. Um, but this is slated to be out sometime in 2025. No idea how expensive it's going to be, but it's cool as hell. It can do 32 different solid color exteriors with upwards of 240 different panel segments. So it's essentially 240 character addressable colors outside of the car.
And it's the
Um,
wheels too.
it's literally the entire car.
I'd like to
Nick,
see what the bodywork charges would be on this. If you have an accident.
A little fender bender is going to cost you a
Yeah.
fortune, a fortune with this car.
How much is
If-
the insurance per month for this? $16,000 a month.
Yeah, it'll most definitely be something outrageous. Getting my screen share set up here so we can show it. I should have done this before, but
one.
So
Oh,
here is a
I got a
here is a
question.
yeah. Go ahead.
So, um, what do they put on the registration as in color of the car?
I assume when there's not color applied to it, when it appears to be white when there's not anything applied to it. So I would assume that the base color would define itself as white. So as you can see in this video here, here is the car changing its colors, and you can see all of the different panels, including the wheels in real time.
Okay,
So,
that's kind of cool.
oh, it's super cool. I mean, there's not much of an argument on if it's cool or not, but as it's driving, you can see it can kind of look at the let's see, I don't know if it's at this point in the video or not, but it actually changes its color based on what the surrounding of it. So when it's in a
Dude,
city,
it's cloaking technology. 100% they made this for
It's
the
a-
military, and now they're giving it out to the public.
It's a chameleon.
yeah, look at this thing. So you can see now based on the city, it's changing. It's got these different stripe colors. It's rainbowing. The wheels are changing color. You got blocks.
Oh, I know
and-
what it is. It's not cloaking. It's the MySpace of cars.
No, I'm telling you, they made this for the government. 100%.
Oh, the liability. Think about what this could mean for you could remember they came out with that cloak that made you invisible, the Harry Potter cloak, but it was really just a flexible screen that had a camera on the other side to show you an image of what was just past the cloak. Now you can do it with a car.
Yeah, they show here the demo just shows how many different colors you can have. You can see it's doing kind of a rainbow effect all at the same time, which, as I mentioned, very interesting if somebody is trying to run away from law enforcement with this, because the color is completely addressable. Now, I guess the only problem is I can't imagine there's going to be many folks driving these around. So unless you're in probably Los Angeles, where there might be a couple of these, it's going to be hard to skirt law enforcement with the color changing car. So this is the BMW DEE, out sometime apparently in 2025.
I can see there be local ordinances against this.
Probably.
Yeah.
I have a question though. Is it on the panel of the car itself, or is it like a film they put over the car?
It's a film that's on top of the car. So there's a metal body under it, and this is some sort of film that is laid on top of that. I believe.
So what you could do is do stripe designs. So like the whole car doesn't have to be that LED. It's not LED, but whatever, the pixel stuff. They could just do stripes along cars or whatever. So they have that technology.
Yeah, you
What
could do like
about
you're
the-
saying, just do a racing stripe of this panel, and then you
Yeah.
could change the color of your stripe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because so here's the thing that they did the whole car because it's impressive and it's cool to look at. But as far as like the regular consumers, probably not gonna be able to afford this. And like Spence said, I'm sure the cities are gonna be like, no, you can't ride a car that is a full on board display. But what they could do is they could sell smaller sections of it and like stripes or little panels or whatever. Those would probably not break any laws
So-
or anything like that.
What is the Amazon knockoff of this going to look like?
I
The
don't know.
Volkswagen is also coming out with one as well.
$19. It's a spray can. You spray
No,
it
it's
on.
gonna be
Wait.
bumper stickers.
Wait, what'd you say,
Old
Nick?
iPhones.
Volkswagen is coming with the same?
Which is Volkswagen is a parent of
Yeah.
BMW. So the Volkswagen is also apparently coming out with something like this as well.
No, Volkswagen is a parent of Audi.
Excuse me, you're right. Volkswagen
Yeah.
is the parent.
Yeah,
Audi. I don't
Audi.
know why I said
BMW
that.
is, I'm not sure what BMW owns. What is it? Mini.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Morris. Yeah.
I think it's Volkswagen.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right.
Yeah, look at this thing. Look, real quick before we
Okay.
go. This is the Volkswagen. This is their psychedelic car
Oh,
that apparently
man.
can change colors as well. It's not to the same level as the BMW. You can see it's got regular wheels on it. But this is apparently one of their cars that they showed at CES as
If you
well.
drive through Los Angeles, people are going to think they're having flashbacks
Yeah, exactly.
looking at the car.
Neato.
Interesting stuff at CES for
Yeah.
sure.
But Katie, you're right. This probably was something that was developed years ago by the military to use in certain situations, and now it's viable
Everything-
for them. Yeah.
Everything is always built for the government because they want that government grant money. It's like look at the VR stuff. Like Microsoft built the HoloLens and sold it to the government for millions and millions of dollars, and now we the consumers are getting it later. So they all want that government grant money.
It's alien technology, really.
So
It's the film. It's not. Yeah, you're right. As I'm reading this, the outer skin is a film of electronic paper built by a startup company. So it's not even BMW's not even making it. They're
yeah,
just
so it's like
licensing.
it's like a wrap that they put on
Like a
cars.
what?
Wrap.
Advertising wrap.
They call it
Oh,
wrap.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, a wrap. Yes. Well, yes and no. It's got to be. It's more. It's got to be more. It's more than that because it's got to be
Sure.
electrically charged. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's probably the installation will cost a bunch too.
cost of getting a car wrapped. We're getting a couple of station cars wrapped, and it's like $3,000 to get a car wrapped with just vinyl. So you can imagine how expensive it is to get this stuff
Right.
wrapped. So that's that. I did want to talk about this briefly, if it's all right. Roku with their televisions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw anything about this, but Roku has announced that they're going to be selling 11 televisions, ranging small. They start with a 24-inch, which I'm surprised. That seems to be almost too small of a TV to make. But between 24 and 75 inches, the 24-inch will cost $119. The 75-inch will cost less than $1,000. And they are going to be jumping into the hardware business from a television standpoint instead of just making the boxes and licensing the smart functionality to Insignia and Hisense and everybody else. They want a piece of the puzzle. They're going to try a piece of the pie. They're going to try to do it themselves.
Yeah, and they don't
Sounds-
mention
Yeah.
they don't mention who's manufacturing them.
No, it'll be
Yeah.
Samsung, Sony, or LG. Those are the major manufacturers. It'll be one of those three that they partner with.
Yep. It's about time.
I will, if these things come out and they have decent reviews, I will buy one for sure. I love Roku. I am
Mhm.
100% in on Roku.
Yep.
And if I could have a Roku branded TV that I know will have because the problem you've got with some of the cheaper Roku TVs is exactly that. They're cheaper. They're high sense and that they're not bad. But they're not necessarily as powerful maybe as you would want. I would assume that for Roku, for their television, they're going to make these things as comparable to their Roku Ultra or some of their other pretty powerful devices.
Yeah. Hopefully. I was just kind of like thinking if you open one of the Roku TVs, it'll be look inside and you will see that it actually has a stick hanging with a
Out of the HDMI port.
with double sticky tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
All right.
yeah, they say to better serve our customers, Roku branded TVs will further enable innovation around the TV experience, and all the innovations will be made available on the full Roku TV program. And they're still going to be working with their OEMs, so they're still doing
Yeah.
um,
That's
they're
how
still
you
doing their licensing. So everybody will still have Roku TV licenses if they want.
absolutely. All right. This article is interesting too. The author is writing recently, I had to set up a Windows 10 computer for one specific application in a semi embedded use case. Anything else that Windows does or comes with is unnecessary for this. While there are plenty of internet scripts and apps for debloating Windows, I have found the easiest and little known way to debloat Windows without running any internet scripts, such as the follows. One, open PowerShell. God, where's God? God is here. Type get dash appx package appx package and pipe it through remove dash appx package. And he says, ignore any error messages about packages that can't be removed. It's fine. Now, he puts a comment. He said, will this work for everyone? No, of course not. But it's a great one line, easily memorable tool for cleaning up a PC quickly for an industrial use case without any security risks. So it's get appx package and pipe it through remove dash appx package. And it's supposed to take all the junk, the bloatware out.
Well, you need to tell it. Oh, uh,
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know, maybe
it's interesting. It's also a very
dangerous. Yeah.
recommendation,
Yeah.
right? I mean, look at the list that Get AppX package shows you, and decide whether
Oh, so it generates a list?
this is a problem of mine. I want every single person who uses a computer to use the command line.
Right.
Okay, because the versatility and the flexibility that the command line provides is unparalleled. It's there is no UI that can be as complex and as versatile as a well-formed command.
Yeah.
The problem is, and PowerShell is one of the better command line shells out there, right? It is awesome. I mean, if there's one thing Microsoft actually did right is give the freedom to the PowerShell team to go as far as they did. The work there is phenomenal. Um, However, just telling people do this command and it'll clean up your machine.
Yeah,
I
that's
am so my problem right now is with the report here with the article. Um, it is interesting. Will it clean? I mean, it can clean up. It can do damage.
it.
If you're on a fresh install, I would say, yeah,
Oh yeah,
maybe do that.
absolutely. Don't
But
dare.
on on a machine you've been working for a while and you don't remember what you've installed intentionally and whatnot, uh, beware.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Verizon is telling customers that if they're still using 3G CDMA or 4G non VoLTE phone that does not support a newer network technologies, your line will be suspended without billing and you will lose the ability to call, text, or use data. Now, this is a recent post. A couple of weeks ago, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong. Bill said he was trying to call somebody in Florida, his brother, and could not get him. And make a long story short, that was the problem, that they cut off the 3G, and he doesn't have a smartphone. He has a flip, and that's it. It just couldn't. Now, uh, this could be a serious problem for a lot of elderly persons that live by themselves, and they don't know that this is happening. And suddenly you don't have phone, or let's say you don't use the phone much. Um, but that's not that new. I mean, they've been doing it for the last month or longer.
Well, they're retiring old hardware. We can
Yeah,
understand that.
right.
We don't like it, but we can understand it.
No, absolutely. We have to understand it. I mean, it's obviously a necessary evil.
Yeah, so
There
I'm
was,
looking at the output of the command from before.
yeah,
If I would have run it, right,
yeah,
the amount that it would, there are stuff that has already been installed.
yeah,
Um, HP printer control, right? So my HP printer control app will be removed for the printer. There's some there's an email application that I've installed here.
yeah.
Uh,
So
um,
it sees it as bloatware, but I'm wondering really what would happen if you use it on a fresh
no,
install.
there's a lot of bloatware that it might help to remove, like
Can you choose which
um,
one you want to?
yeah, but you need to type in the
Oh,
specific
geez. So
word.
it's not just check,
So
check, check,
instead
check,
of
check.
that, let's do something else. Let's recommend something that is actually effective.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, doing that, it'll work. It's dangerous
right.
on a fresh install before you did anything to the system. I would say it's okay to risk it at least and see the behavior.
Yeah.
But if you've already used your machine, don't run that. Whatever you do, don't run that.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely know that there is an option from the command line to see these AppX, these new applications, modern application technology, everything that comes from the Microsoft Store. That's basically what this is controlling from the command line. And it's great that there's that option. But if you actually want to remove stuff, in a responsible way, there's a fantastic open source application called Bulk Crap Uninstaller. Yes, that's its name, Bulk Crap Uninstaller. Just look it up. BC Uninstaller is another way to see it, and install that, and it gives you a list with checkboxes and size analysis of everything, and you can, in a very responsible way, remove a lot of bulk from
Mhm.
your from your machine. So
Jason
yeah,
put a comment in the chat about how to use this an easy way. I'm wondering if you can do that.
hold
So
on.
just pipe the list to a file.
But that's what they say, right? They say use the get and pipe it to the remove. That means give me everything, and I'm passing it to the remove, which says remove everything. Don't remove everything,
Right.
like
No, he said edit.
scrutiny,
Right. No,
right?
but he
And
says
so
pipe it to a file, edit the file, then run the remove command against the list that you like. In, uh,
yes, completely. If you've used command line before,
yeah,
if you're comfortable with the command line, know that these commands exist.
yeah.
If you're not,
No, it's
find bulk
dangerous. It's
crop.
just like
Yeah.
working with registry. It's you can make if you're comfortable with it and you know what you're doing, it's great. But
Right.
if you make one mistake, that's it. Your computer can be rendered unusable.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, but bullcrap bullcrap uninstaller is a good program to use.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I mean,
Bullcrap.
when I stumble on it,
Bullcrap.
it has become since then it become part of my arsenal of tools.
Hmm.
Almost every machine I visit, I need to help someone. That is the first thing I run because it allows really quickly to clean up and get things up and running
Yep.
fast.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right. Back at ChatGPT, and for a lot of the audience that thinks, "Oh yeah, I can do this, and that will help me do that." ChatGPT's artificial intelligence generated dialogue has gotten pretty sophisticated to the point where it can write convincing sounding essays. So, Edward Chan, a computer science student at Princeton, built an app called GPT Zero that can quickly and efficiently label whether an essay was written by a person or ChatGPT. In a series of recent tweets, he provided examples of GPT Zero in progress. The app determined John McPhee's New Yorker essay frame of reference to be written by a person and a LinkedIn post to be created by a bot. On Twitter, he said he created the app over the holidays and was motivated by the increasing possibility of AI plagiarism. So, something that schools, universities can use to see if a student actually wrote it or did he just watch the TV show and just told ChatGPT to write it. Uh, that's it's interesting.
Um, so a bit about that. I don't know how the technology of detecting works but I have been playing with ChatGPT for a couple of things, and it is okay. It is like the amazement is like the amazement of when you meet a 5-year-old kid and he talks like a 10-year-old kid, right? It's like it's that. It's like, oh, so a computer can respond in that way. So at first, it's very novel. It is very refreshing. It has a wow effect. But then you understand that this thing is stupid. This thing is very limited, and it's not the be all do all that that everybody's talking about. It's just impressive as hell
Right.
that we are at this stage. Okay. And I think this is the most important aspect of it. If you spend like 10 minutes with it and you
Uh-huh.
start asking it, especially if you're starting to ask for it to do something specific for you, the quality of what comes out is impressive for an AI, but it is garbage. Okay. So uh, it's it is a waste of a professor's time to read an
To
article
read
that
it.
it read because
Absolutely.
it'll see through it in like 2 minutes. It'll see something's off. Okay. If you understand the context of what you are asking it to produce and you read through it, you see that it is wrong. It is not, it's not even complete. It, it is impressive. The technology is amazing, right? But the output is still crap.
It also depends too on how niche or how popular the topic you're trying to get it to do. So I was getting it to write descriptions of products to post online to sell or whatever, and I asked it to do a Google optimized SEO description, and the description was great because there's millions and millions and millions and millions of products on the internet that basically use the same formula. But if I went in and asked it something um, that was I can't think of it. All the stuff I was asking was very all over the place. But if it's something that's very specific and not popular, then it's gonna read like a robot wrote it,
Yeah,
because it doesn't have as much to go off of. So that's why I said that ChatGPT should be used as a tool because it's great to get the stuff that you do over and over and over again. But if it's something that you don't do over and over again and it's very specific, you're gonna run into some problems.
exactly, exactly. And I think so. That is probably the most important aspect of this because everybody else who's talking about it is talking about how great this is, right? And yes, it's great, but it's a tool. It's another tool. It is going to make a lot of people's lives easier. It's sort of a quality of life feature in a new way. There's a novel approach to doing some things. That's what Dall-E is. That's what Midjourney is. It's just a novel way of making certain skills accessible to a lot more people, right? But the knowledge still needs to be there. The expertise still needs to be there. You cannot use it instead of an expert, right? You can use it in addition to the expert. And that is the most important aspect right now. Will it change? Will we ever get to a point where it can replace the expert completely? I am guessing that the answer is there is that there's some science fiction uh, um, uh, um, dystopian thought that we will get there, but I think reality is a lot more complex, and we will not get to that dystopian view. It'll be completely different than any bad dream that we can think of. It'll be completely different than any fantasy dream that we can think of. Um, it's just it's it's interesting. It's new. It's going to be incorporated into a lot of things, but it's not what everybody is thinking. It's not the good and not the bad.
I think I use ChatGTP as Google 2.0. I ask it questions that I would ask Google, and it shifts through all the Google stuff for me. So Google, for instance, I was trying to learn a way to automate certain tedious tasks on my computer. So I Googled, like, is there a way to have a software do this thing for me? And they're like, sure. And it gave a list of examples. And then I was like, oh, well, tell me more about Power Automate. And then it was like, oh, well, Power Automate, blah, blah, blah. And it listed these things. And it was like, if you're interested in this topic, you can find here, 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 here. So I used it as a way to Google my problem, and it gave me avenues to look up stuff. That is invaluable because it's like Jarvis from Avengers. Like you ask it a question, and it's like, oh well, here's some things you might like, and then it shifts through all that crap for me. Where if you like Google it in Google, and you're just like, okay, well, what's this? It's gonna give you a whole list of things that I have to shift through myself. Instead, I use ChatGPT to do it for me.
Right. That is fantastic because that makes so much more sense than anything else, right? Asking it to write the article for you, that's useless because the content that it will generate will be subpar. But asking it to let you know where you can find meaningful information, for example, right? That makes so much more sense. And yes, it'll be better than Google doing that because Google only lists
Yeah. It
by
doesn't filter.
ranking or not by
Yeah.
content, not by meaning, not by. So yeah,
Well,
I
and
agree.
also too, and I'm going kind of a little bit off on a tangent. I've found that Googling stuff is getting more difficult because can't trust if the information is reliable or not because the people can pay for what I see first. So if I Google a question like what software can I use to automate tasks for my computer? Well, it might not give me the best result. It will give me the result of what the advertisers have paid for to see first. So I can't necessarily trust that that is the best software for me to use. And it just requires an extra level of paying attention and reading and researching, which everybody should pay attention. Don't get me wrong, but it, that's what I think Chat GGP should be. AI should be used as an assistant, not necessarily the end all be all, because it will help you make informed decisions so that you can look up the information yourself.
Yep.
Yep.
So what are you doing with Power Automate?
Okay, yeah. So I discovered Power Automate, and what I've been using it for is to take over tedious tasks. And like for instance, I was messing with Power Automate right now. Like I go to websites every day, and there's tasks that I do on websites every day, and I get annoyed that I have to click on these things every day. So instead, I went on Power Automate, and I found out that you could set up like a clicking thing, whatever. So you could tell the mouse, go here at this pixel coordinate, click this button, and then do this and click that, and it is like been a lifesaver. And one of the things that I was diving into was web scraping. And that sounds very nefarious, but essentially, I have this website that I found and it has a lot of data on it. But the data, like the website was made in like the 90s and they never updated it. And it's very frustrating to look at the information. So I want to be able to analyze it myself. So I'm using Power Automate to grab the information, like to grab the body of text from the website and putting it into an Excel document. And then from there, I can use Excel to organize the data, do whatever I want, do my own kind of analysis of it. So
Will it allow you to download images and stuff like that as well?
yeah, so it does. I'm a beginner, so there is a way where it can recognize. So the coolest thing ever, and what kind of blew my mind. So Power Automate has basically it's coding without coding. So it has all of the functions on the side of everything that you can do, and then you grab the building blocks and set it up into a sequence to execute what you wanted to do. So for instance, I have it where okay, there's a website that has a description of a book that I want and but the website unfortunately won't show the whole description of the book. It only show like one or two sentences. But I want the whole description. So on Power Automate, there's a function on there that says find an element or whatever, it's something like that. And so what I do is I pull the block over into my flow and it says, what element are you looking for? And I tell it, look for the text, show more. If you see the text, show more, have it click the text to reveal the whole description. And it does it. Like whatever website I have open, I say run this flow, and then it goes, oh, I see that show more is a button that's on this page. I'm gonna click it for you. And I'm like, thanks. And so you're like, well, why would you do that? It's because I want to grab the whole description so that I could put it into an Excel sheet and then I have the description of the book. And instead of
Cool.
just like one or two sentences. So it's amazing. I love it.
That's cool.
And
I
I
actually used it um, while I was gone, or we did an episode of Infection, pre-recorded it, but we streamed it live. So because Katie was talking about it, I was like, well, let me see if it'll do what I want. So what I did is I did a screen recording of it moving the mouse and clicking. So I had it click the stream button, then move the mouse up to where move the mouse up, wait 15 or 20 seconds, then click again at a different place. And then after the runtime of the video, which was like just over an hour, going back to the stream button and click it again to stop it. And I did all of that with Power Automate, and it took like 5 minutes. Pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
it's absolutely amazing. And for somebody that I understand a little bit of coding, like I've done some coding in the past, but I don't really remember a lot of it. But I understand you have to understand the logic, like how things are put in the building blocks. But once you
Yep.
like get that worked out, it's an absolutely powerful tool. It makes somebody that's a filthy casual like myself. Like I was telling you guys, I feel like I'm living in the year 3000.
Nice. I think what you need to do next is see if you can use it to refine the searches on Amazon. Because when you go on Amazon and you look for something, you are not going to get what you're looking for. It
Yeah,
will be mixed with other stuff.
because people pay, so they pay to get it in front of you.
It's weird. I mean, you can go and look for a red slipper, size 12, and you will get green and yellow and size 9 and I mean everything. No, I just want you to show me what I was looking for.
Mhm.
And there maybe
Yes,
there's
but it's smart. It shows you what it thinks you are
well, I
actually
already
looking.
told it what I want.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
The machine knows you better.
Yeah. All right. Over the holiday, I'm sure a lot of people got PS5, right? Nick?
Yeah, I got 3.
Okay, so it goes. The PS5 looks to have a design fault that can take months to appear and only seems to happen if you use the console while it's in a vertical orientation. A Woololo report. Hardware repair specialists working on PS5 consoles that failed to boot are finding the problem is caused by the liquid metal thermal interface Sony used on the custom AMD Zen 2 CPU. When the PS5 is oriented in a vertical position, over time, the liquid metal is moving and spilling out onto the components surrounding the CPU. This also means the liquid metal is no longer evenly spread across the chip. It's meant to help cool.
Womp
Uh,
womp.
huh?
I said womp womp.
Well,
It's the CPU. It's the CPU paste. It's a version of CPU paste.
yeah. And apparently, if you put it vertically, it comes out. I don't understand
Well,
how.
and the reason for that is because Liquid Metal is a brand of
Oh,
paste,
okay.
and it's obviously running too hot to the point where the liquid metal is um fluxing isn't the word to use. That's a solder term, but it's getting to the point where
It's
the liquid
easing
metal
its way.
is
It's easing its way out from between the sink and the CPU.
yeah, exactly. So what which there could be a couple of reasons for that. Either maybe so there could be too much liquid metal, which means it's you've got the liquid metal, too much of it, and so now you're putting too much pressure on it and it's seeping out of the sides. It's not tight enough so that it's got room to flow.
Mhm.
Or I'm trying to think what would the third option be? Those are probably it. It's either too much liquid metal, too tight, or too loose. It's one of those three. Has to. And you're seeing it in the vertical thing because gravity is
Yeah.
forcing it down. It's falling off of the chip, and now your device is liable to overheat. And that liquid metal is liable to damage other components as well.
Yeah, and that's bad because it's not gonna happen right away. Literally gonna take
No.
months.
Correct.
So if you have a PS5, don't stand it on its side. Use it the way it
No.
was meant to use.
They
No,
sell it.
not true.
They sell
They
it
sell it.
standing on the side.
They sell
Really?
they're all their descriptions, all the marketing is
Wow.
it sitting on its side.
So
No,
that
this is a
must-
bug. This is not a use case issue. This is
This is Microsoft's Xbox Ring of Fire, basically.
what's interesting
over
though,
again.
Gal, about that is that the PS5 has been out for
Right, but
like
it takes time for the material to deteriorate, right?
4 years though. I mean, it's been out a minute.
Hmm.
Now 2 years. Now 3 years. It's been out 3 years. But so that's a
yeah, 3 years where
that's a
nobody
minute.
could get a box.
Touche.
So
Touche.
Yeah, that's interesting because most desktop computers today are mounted vertical. The motherboard is vertical, and
Yeah, and that's not a problem on a but let's be clear, when you are building a computer and you see that it says put a
Yeah.
pea-sized amount of, well, here's the thing. Again, thermal compound, which is your thermal paste, and liquid metal are two different things. The thermal compound is not going to move
it
because
gets
it's
harder.
it's a paste.
Yeah.
The liquid metal will, because it is a liquid. When they put it, you actually apply it with a syringe. It comes in a medical syringe, and you apply it with a very, very thin syringe on the CPU. So it's very common for people that overclock, you use liquid metal because the performance of that versus thermal paste or thermal pads or any sort of other compound. Thermal grizzly and liquid metal are the two kind of leaders there for overclocking and even sub-zero cooling and things.
Hey, before we go, John had a good question about what's a good way to share photos with low-tech users in the family. And I was just thinking, I know how I've always done it. It was I don't do it much anymore.
I have a very simple method.
Yeah, something very simple you
Flex.
can
Flex.
flex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to
Flex.
make an account though.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
Google Drive?
Well, not
I was
necessarily.
thinking Google Drive, but that's what format are you going to use to make it easy? You're going to put individual pictures up there, or you're going to create?
Yeah,
a
if you
PDF?
uploaded a whole album to Google Drive, you could share the link to anybody with the
Yes.
URL, and then they can just view it.
That would be, but it's how you create it. You
I
can
would-
use-
I would recommend Amazon Photos, because I actually had a
Oh, yeah.
client. I had a client who wasn't very computer literate, and I was building photo albums for her and her grandchildren, and all of her daughters and son-in-laws and blah blah blah, all of her family, they all had Amazon Prime accounts or whatever, and she did too. But they could make photo albums and Amazon pictures or whatever and like share them across, and she uses Amazon to buy stuff, so she was familiar with it and was able to access it. So if everybody has Amazon, it is kind of annoying to use. At least I found it annoying because I know there's better solutions. But if somebody uses Amazon but they don't really use anything else, then that might be easy.
Is it annoying for you as the one who goes and posts it, or is it annoying to the people that just want to go and?
It's annoying for me to download the photos because there's not a download all feature. At least there wasn't like 6 months ago when I was using it. So it's easy to upload photos and to make photo albums and to share it and stuff like that. But when I wanted to download all the photos so that I could put them in use like Shutterfly to make a book, a photo album, that was really annoying because I had to click each individual photo. But if this is just like sharing photos between family members and like getting a library of stuff, then Amazon probably might be the best solution.
If you only had Power Automate at the time, Katie, you could have completely automated that.
I
that whole
know.
process.
If only I knew.
So Gal, when you said
The reason I recommended Plex
Yeah.
is they won't even need a computer to watch it. They could watch it on their TV if there's a smart TV at home.
That's
And
true as well.
logging in, you said about creating an account. You can create the managed account for them, and all they'll need to do is choose their name from the screen. The login process will require them to read you a 4-letter code on their screen, and you're
Yes.
logging them in. So
Yeah.
you can completely guide them through the process. They don't need anything really special. They can do pretty much the same thing on their smartphone or tablet and or on the TV. So
Okay, now,
yes,
Gal,
every single thing like that will require a setup step. But I think the setup step is rather easy to guide.
Gal, where is the disk space coming from?
Just slap Plex on your machine. You don't necessarily need a server,
No,
right?
no, no. Wait a second. I have 5,000 pictures I want to share.
I
And
don't think we're talking about 5,000
Yeah, but we're
photos.
not talking about 5,000 pictures.
I'm
And running a Plex server on a Windows machine that is always on, that's what
okay.
you need, right?
Okay, so you have to run the server on your
Yeah.
side. It's not all web based.
No.
Okay.
So this doesn't do an Apple Music deal where it sucks everything up into the cloud and doesn't keep it on your device anymore unless you want it to, does it?
Obviously
So
not.
your
Oh,
photos.
Plex, you run the server on your machine, actually.
No, I'm talking about the Amazon solution. If you
Oh,
were to install that, my experience with Apple, when I went to I got invited to a family version of Apple Music. All the stuff that was on my phone suddenly was in the cloud, and I had to go back and start pulling things back to download it onto my phone again. It was kind of annoying.
sounds annoying.
But I think once you pull that up there, it doesn't leave your machine, right?
Wait, ask the question again.
With Amazon, if you post photos in your Amazon album, it doesn't take
Remove
them
it.
off your computer.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't use it.
I'm installing the uh, PC version of the client to see what it does here.
Yeah. I think if I would say this, if they can use if they're going to use a computer or a phone and you've already got a Gmail account, Google Drive might be the easiest way to go. As Gal mentioned, if they want to view this on a television, Plex is a pretty good solution. 200 pictures, you should be able to host that on a free Google Drive. And then if not,
Yeah.
the Katie's solution of Amazon, again, will also require a phone or a computer. Would probably work. And then of course there's also free Dropbox accounts and box.com. I mean, there's a million of these file sharing sites. So you could use those too, presumably.
I'm wondering, I never thought about it. If you have a drive mounted connected to your router, like a NAS drive on the router, is there
Mhm.
software that will allow others to come in and look at only at certain folders?
Depends on the router.
Okay.
There are like you remember what's it called, Western Digital Book,
Yeah.
right? It has an app, it has a sharing option. So there are solutions like that. If you have a NAS, like an appliance, then there are some built-in things that you can do. If you're going to talk about self-hosting, right? This is basically a version of self-hosting.
Right.
Then there's a whole range of things. The thing is that even let's say it's somewhat complex, okay, for you to set up, you always need to think of how complex it's going to be for the
Uh,
other person
right.
to log in,
Correct.
right? Who is going to need to create those accounts,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
On a
Yeah.
basic,
I can say I've never been successful with sharing a photo album with my parents in a way that, hey, this is the set of albums that I have. You can access whenever you want. If they want to see some images that that I made, I need to actually send it to them via, WhatsApp or something like that.
To use a basic router that has file hosting capability, it's either Samba or FTP. So you would have to create an account. Then you'd have to create a VPN so they could get into your network.
No. There's those that I mentioned. They have a web interface that you can actually get
External?
sharing through. Yeah, there are. I wouldn't recommend them or anything because again, the setup is going to be somewhat. It might be simple on your end if it's a NAS appliance like a
If you
QNAP or a QNAS or something like that. But
if you upload photos to say Walgreens to get pictures made, can't you also share those albums?
that is a good question. I don't know.
I think that
I
might
know
be
I know they
possible.
manage some sort of albums. I don't know if
Yeah.
they do sharing.
I haven't used them in a long time to print pictures, but I remember something about being able to create
I was
albums.
just
up there.
thinking something, John. I mean, and you guys tell me, I would take the 200 images, put it into a zip file, and make it available for anybody these to just go and get it. Or
Right. But then they need to know how to download the zip file, how
Yeah.
to extract it, and how to view it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right. So you're looking for a solution that
Yeah,
makes
that's
all
true.
of this a bit simpler. That's
Yeah.
all.
If you have PowerPoint or
Oh,
Adobe,
geez.
you can probably assemble the pictures in a file and create a PDF. and
Okay,
send
let's
it
go
to
back.
'em.
Let's go
Yeah.
back. Let's ask a few questions. You said low tech, right? Like not very tech approachable. So, are they watching it on a computer? That's the first question. Or are they using their phone to see it? Or would you want it to share on their TV? Right? Each one of these is a different answer. Because if it's the phone, all you do is you just send it to them via instant messages. Is it
Self-extracting archive.
effective? No, but it's easy for them to access.
Yeah, so
Right.
self-extracting archive on PC.
Self-extracting archive on a PC, then you have the answer, right? Just use 7-zip, archive it, send it. You upload it to some Google Drive where they download the link, and that's it.
Yep.
If
That's
you need
easy.
to format it to something where you just click the view and it scrolls through the photos, then that's just a little more complicated, but you could use PowerPoint to create a PDF.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want PowerPoint, first of all, you can
No,
use
but you
the
won't need
online.
PowerPoint. Once you create the PDF, it doesn't care that's PowerPoint.
Well,
So
PDF, yeah.
Yeah.
PDF
you can export
has
it,
its own limitations. So, yeah.
PowerPoint as a PDF file.
I have a random question. Not about this. I'm tangenting. What was it you guys were talking about a few weeks ago? Software that could record your screen to show step by step. Because reason why is because I've been talking about Power Automate, and my friend reached out and she wants to learn how to use it. And Power Automate is free, but I can't share my flows, or the flows are like the scripts I write or whatever,
Yeah.
unless I pay for premium. And I don't want to pay for
Okay.
premium because it's $15
Hit
a month.
start, type the word step, and the first option
Step
should be
recorder?
steps recorder.
There it is.
Simple as that.
Awesome. Because I'm just gonna rebuild the flows in this video format and then send it to her so she can build them herself. Because I don't want to spend $15 a month
Mhm.
just to share flows.
Is your desktop? Do you have the NVIDIA Experience application installed on your desktop?
No, I don't think I do.
If you have NVIDIA and you didn't remove
Yeah,
it,
it's
then
usually
there.
I've got
I mean,
NVIDIA control panel. Is that the same thing?
I think
No.
so. So I don't remember
It's
the
experience.
keyboard shortcut, but you can just literally record your screen to a video.
Oh, nifty.
So just know that exists and this exists, right? It's
Okay.
like I
I
know
use the
you're a
steps
gamer. I
recorder.
know you use NVIDIA. That's why I'm suggesting that because it's basically built in. But again, that's a video. The steps recorder, I think it's probably better for writing a tutorial. So if that's what you're looking for, yeah, definitely go with that.
Oh.
Wasn't this the original use for XSplit? Was to do video game recording and sharing?
I feel
Probably. I mean,
Yeah, it was
ex-
virtual cameras and all
today,
that.
today, if you need to install something, I would say go with OBS, right?
Yeah, I have
OBS today
OBS
is
too.
fantastic.
That's what I've used in the past.
And you can definitely use OBS to record your screen for, or your window, right? For
Yep.
explaining what you're doing.
and it's free.
Yep, yep, yep. I just want to try that new
Katie, you
stuff.
need to start doing this on TikTok.
What, learning all this software stuff? I'm like 10 years behind.
But that's the thing. The way I see TikTok and stuff that it pushes, right? It doesn't matter. You'll have the audience of the people who are just discovering this, right?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
not
People like
necessarily
me.
gonna watch old stuff. They want something new, current, something is that a person right now is learning.
Yeah. They'll just
So
have to join this show. They can hear me talk about it and
there
my
was
Yeah, but then
frustrations.
it's not 2 minutes long.
That's true.
there was another story this week that India is about to ban TikTok.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you need to remember, TikTok is just the current hot thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that medium is not going away. So
No.
India is probably banning it because it's going to focus on something that
Maybe they're
that
gonna
It
works
doesn't
better in
matter.
India.
It's
they're gonna
the
make their own
principle of the thing. It's
make their own
interesting.
TikTok.
You what?
They're gonna make their own TikTok and call it
Yeah.
Talk Tick.
Okay. All right. It's that time of day.
Man, that went fast.
Yeah. And I know you have to go places, people to see.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
today's not a holiday, so you guys are blessed with my presence. You should be lucky. If I showed up on a holiday, I would get time and a half. So.
Yep. And I didn't say that you can't.
Oh, you give me time and a half?
Of course.
Dang, perfect. I guess free and more free. So.
Yeah.
I just signed into
And,
XSplit for the first time in a couple of years,
oh,
and
Spence.
I got in. I'm still good. I have a lifetime license.
Oh,
Yeah, but it ruined your colors.
Oh, I'm sure it's playing around with the camera. It's trying to grab the camera.
all right.
Katie, just one thing.
Uh-huh.
There's one other option you can do. Register a new account just for Power Automate and share that account with your friend.
Hmm. Interesting. Wait, what? Make a new
I mean,
account with Power Automate and share it with my. Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Log in multiple things. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good call. Good call.
See what you get for coming on the show.
Well, I tell you, I'm singing your praises because I got smart lights. I learned about Power Automate. I learned about $15,000 toilets. I got a keyboard
All right,
that's
Ted.
pretty cool.
All right, Katie.
So you can combine two things. You can use Power Automate to switch on your lights when you're sitting next to the computer when you're logged in.
Yeah, perfect. Or I could buy that P analysis and put it in the $15,000 toilet and make it all Bluetooth and connect it to Amazon.
Well, we need the $15,000
Ah.
color changing
Yeah.
toilet.
Oh,
I'm not okay.
no,
I'm not
wait.
trying to kick us out. I'm not.
I
Trying
know,
To kick
I
us
know
out.
he's trying to, but one more thing. You can automate locking the computer when the Bluetooth on the toilet is on.
Oh my
So it knows
gosh,
you went to the computer.
this is too much.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
Good. Well, no, don't put it up because you still have to say bye. So thanks, Gal. And thanks, Katie.
No problem.
And Spence. And,
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Nick, who stepped out. Something. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael, Thanks, everybody, for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his morning news radio show. You can just tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave. Or you can always go to the recordings on nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast. That's a survival game and gaming news show on Twitch. So Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. One word. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.